educator and holistic practitioner with certifications in cannabis for veterinary medicine by the College of Integrative I can never say that right. Veterinary technologies. Carter has helped pet parents across the country access the potential of CBD. Come and join them right now on the main stage. If you want to know more about CBD pet education, these two have got you covered. Put your hands together for our gentleman right here. Let's go. Woo!
Hello,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Thanks for having us. We are really honored to be here speaking on behalf of animals who benefit from CBD and cannabis just as much as we do, if not more, and we'll show you a lot of science for that too. We started our journey about 3 years ago, and when we started, we were met with a lot of skepticism, a lot of why do you want to get your dog high, and a lot of people thinking this was going to be a passing fad. I'm here to tell you that this is much more than a passing fad. Carter and I and our founder, Angela Ardolino, work with hundreds, if not thousands of animals. We've seen dogs who could barely walk start to run. We've seen seizures completely stop. All levels of anxiety go away in minutes, and so much more.
And what we're all finding in the world is that people are treating their pets more and more like family members, often spending as much, if not more, on their health care than even on their own personal. And with CBD, pet parents in the United States spent $426 million on CBD in 2020 alone, a figure projected to grow to $1.1 billion by 2025. So this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, but the problem, of course, is this is an unregulated field, as we all know. It's even worse in the pet field. Actually, Cornell University last year bought 30 pet CBD products on the market and did their own lab tests. Out of those 30, only 10 were in the 10% cannabinoid ratio, even close to the label. 9 had heavy metals and pesticides, and a lot of them didn't have CBD at all. Now, of course, we're hoping that there's going to be some regulation at some point as a supplement for CBD, but when it comes to the FDA and the Dietary Supplement Health Education Act of 1994, they specifically leave pets out. So there is nobody regulating pet supplements. So the day that this does get regulated by the FDA, we still have to fight this battle to make sure pet parents are getting a safe and effective product.
And say you even do get a safe and effective product, there's still a whole bunch of misinformation and confusion about really important subjects like determining optimal dosage for your pet and perceived dangers around THC safety, and then even just trying to get CBD oil into a grumpy cat's mouth. It ain't easy. So today, we're going to take our experience from working with veterinarians across the country, teaching store owners how to use this, to working with pet parents and the animals on our own rescue farm, and talk to you about how to choose a product that is safe, effective, and one that actually sells as well.
Yeah. Before we do that, just quick introductions. My name is Hernando Umana, co-owner of CBD Dog Health. I'm certified in cannabis from the University of Vermont's Medical Cannabis Program, School of Medicine. I am on the board of our rescue farm, Firefly Farm, where we have given every form of cannabis possible to chickens, geese, ducks, pigs, possums, donkeys, horses, everything you can imagine. The company was founded by Angela Ardolino, who couldn't be here today. She discovered CBD for her own rheumatoid arthritis. And then when she realized that her animals on her rescue farm have the same system that helps, it was a no-brainer to start. And we've been going about this for over, 4 years now, just educating everywhere.
My name's Carter Easler. Like the generous introduction I was given before, I'm the Director of Education at CBD Dog Health. I was trained at the College of Integrative Veterinary Therapies in the use of cannabis and veterinary medicine. I'm a cannabis writer. I work at our rescue farm, and I'm an advocate for the proper use of this incredible holistic therapy. And finally, one of our stars and most important people we have here today is one of our rescues, Blanche.
This is Blanche, 10 years old. She's actually what got me started in this industry. For the last 10 years, 3 years ago in the last 10 years, was a Broadway performer in a few shows on Broadway and then touring around the country. And she got me kicked out of a lot of hotels for her separation anxiety. I know she looks cute, but when she's alone, she barks like a maniac. So we tried CBD, and it changed everything. And CBD had already changed my life and my anxiety, so finding out that I could help my pet's life was just an eye-opener, my aha moment, and I quit Broadway and came here full-time, and she is the star everywhere we go, for sure.
Yeah, we all started on this journey from a personal way, and we wanted to take that and what we learned on our rescue and through working with our own pets, and we started teaching, we started advocating. We've been on tour across the country with our tour, the Healing Naturally Tour, doing live events with veterinarians, with pet store owners, with all sorts of different holistic practitioners. We work directly with veterinarians to help integrate cannabis into their practices so that they can pair it with other Western style medicines. We teach across the country pet parents and store owners how to properly talk about this stuff, how to teach people in a way that is accessible. And education has become a really big focus in what we do because there is so much to know, and it doesn't have to be as hard as people think it is.
And then, of course, we mentioned our rescue farm, Firefly Farm, which is a rescue farm for neglected and abused animals, all sorts of animals. We have about 15 senior dogs there right now, but again, possums, donkeys, chickens, geese, pigs. We'll show you the next slide where we're actually, this is one of the chickens that we saved, who, with a family actually. That's our chief veterinarian, Dr. Zach Pilasoff, with our founder, Angela Ardolino. It's night and day difference getting CBD to these birds as well. And then we got our horse there. There's Blanche, scared of the horse. And then on the left there, or your right, is Penelope the pig.
A giant pig, a giant old pig, CBD.
Listen to the beautiful sounds.
I love my CBD. What's the note? Like it? I love my CBD.
You guys, these animals benefit from it just as much as we do, yes, including pigs. So we're so happy we get to do this.
So what we have learned through our travels around the country, working with all these different animals, including dogs, is that there is so much application for this, and it is corroborated by more and more research that's coming out today. So before we kind of talk to you about the different ways that you can be sure that you have a product that's safe, effective, and sells, we want to talk to you about some of the basic tenets about how this works, why it works, and what you need to know to ensure that. The first thing that we could see just from those videos and pictures is everybody's got an endocannabinoid system. Birds, humans, pigs, dogs especially. And what's really interesting for all you dog lovers out there like us is dogs actually have a higher density of receptors in their brain than most mammals. This is a study that showed here. You can see where it's darker over there on the right than on the left. That's showing that dogs in their brain, they've got more receptors. That's kind of why they react differently to cannabis than a lot of humans do. And it also shows that the impact of using these therapies with them can be even more effective. The next thing that we really want to talk to you about is kind of a question that we get often is about the safety of using these things. People are very scared, especially oftentimes more than they are with themselves, about how safe this is for their pets. And we just wanted to be here to impart on you that there is a lot of research that shows that CBD is very safe at normal doses, small to medium, but all the way up to very high doses. There was a study done in Canada last year, 2020, at the Canopy Animal Health Group, where they were giving dogs up to single doses of 650 milligrams, which is far, far higher than you would ever give a dog on a normal basis. And in all those cases, only mild adverse effects, meaning a little bit of diarrhea, a little bit of tiredness.
And then there's the big scary word, THC. THC has got a lot of stigma on it in the animal field. A lot of talk about THC toxicity. Our chief veterinarian always loves to talk about the difference between THC toxicity and THC intoxication. That there is THC intoxication, which, as you see, is the wobbles, she's stoned. But there have been 0 recorded deaths in the history of the world from an unadulterated CBD or THC product. Actually, a study done in the 70s, an awful study, where they tried to find the lethal dose of THC in chimpanzees, beagles, and rats. They gave them up to 9,000 milligrams of THC in a single dose. I get stoned off of 5 milligrams. 9,000 milligrams of THC, and they could not kill the animals. The final result was that there is no LD50 in dogs. So we have nothing to worry about when it comes to THC. It's not only safe, but incredibly effective.
So don't just take our word for it. Like I said, there is a lot of research on this. In previous times, the complaint was, well, CBD is great, but there's no research to back any of this up. So we would like to share with you today some of the really important studies that have been done specifically on canines in a variety of different ailments that this can help and change their quality of life.
Yeah, but that being said, I want to remind everybody that before we get to human research, the research is done on animals first. So to say that there is no research on animals or little research on animals is really, really ridiculous, because it always starts with animals first. And as we've learned, all animals have an endocannabinoid system, so of course they are going to benefit from this. All the research we have can be applied to animal use as well, but here are a few really incredible ones for canine specific.
This is not an exhaustive list, but we're going to start with some of the most reputable and large agencies. Cornell University in 2019 filed this study about osteoarthritis with dogs that they studied, citing no side effects and really great dramatic reduction in pain and inflammation in the dogs that they were studying. Osteoarthritis was also studied at Baylor University in Texas, and their lead scientist there said, "I openly admit that I was surprised at how quickly we saw such large results. I would not have expected to see too much of anything in just 1 month." The next study that came out was from Colorado State University, another really reputable school that's doing a lot of the cutting-edge research in cannabis, CBD, and hemp extract with pets. Colorado State University found that an 89% reduction in seizure activity in dogs because of using CBD. This is enormous. This is a really large reduction.
Then we got this amazing study showing not only that animals have cannabinoid receptors in their skin, but have even more than we do. This was specifically done for dermatitis with some incredible results. But we do know that because the amount of receptors in their skin, it gets soaked in very fast for things like tumors and cysts, infections, yeast, dermatitis, of course. Allergies. So using a topical salve on these animals, according to research, and we've seen it every single day, is pretty incredible. And then this one came out last year. This was the first canine cancer CBD study where they compared full spectrum CBD to an isolated CBD to see how it did against canine cancer cells. Full spectrum CBD far past as far as how well it did compared to CBD isolate. So it's something we already know, but to really drive in there of how important a full spectrum CBD is, we want all those cannabinoids in there. And it showed what we already have found in human research, that it triggered apoptosis, it worked really well with certain chemotherapies, and it stopped the spreading of cancer. And then of course, being able to just keep them comfortable is very important. So, yes, dosing. This is the biggest question we get. It's, my dog weighs this much, how much CBD do I give? And you're going to see pet CBD products all over the market telling you 10 to 20 pounds, this is how much you give. I wish it was that simple. I do the marketing for CBD Dog Health, and I wish I could tell you, your dog weighs this much, this is how much you give. It'd make my job so much easier. Unfortunately, it's not the way it works. Every animal is an individual. Every ailment is an individual. We already know that even at extremely high doses, we cannot hurt these animals. A small dog with cancer is probably going to need more than a large dog with anxiety. Even 2 levels of anxiety, a nervous Chihuahua is probably going to need more than a nervous Great Dane. It's just in their nature. So it's all about trial and error. We really encourage pet parents to keep a journal on hand, track the dose, and adjust as needed. Some things to consider when you're looking for their dose. is, of course, their endocannabinoid system. It's going to change with age. Senior dogs need more generally than younger dogs do, found in studies as well. Existing ailments, disease process, what medications they're on. There's so many individual factors that come into play. So there's not a one-size-fits-all. It's about finding what works for your specific animal.
So this is the information that we use to guide us in order to make some basic tips about how you're going to be able to look at a product on a shelf and say, is this going to be good for my dog? Is it going to be safe for my dog? And how can I ensure that what is on the bottle is actually in there? So here's a list of ways that you can look at a product and know that it's going to be good for your animal. The first thing that, if you haven't heard us say it enough, is we want to make sure that it is a full spectrum hemp extract. The entourage effect and the combined value, the synergistic way that all these different cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, and bioactive compounds work together, as soon as you start messing with that, you get less efficacy and higher incidence of side effects. And that's been corroborated by research, including that cancer study, as well as studies by the University of Campinas in Brazil, studies in Canada. It's been proven over and over again. And you look at all those studies that we talked about from Cornell, Colorado, Baylor, all of them are using full spectrum hemp extracts. None of them are using isolates or distillates. And if Cornell is doing it, that's enough for me. So yeah, here's the basic difference. I'm sure you all know the difference between a broad, isolate, and full spectrum hemp extract. But when you got the full extract, that's everything as the plant was made. It's got all the cannabinoids. A broad spectrum, it's had THC taken out, so it's just everything but THC, and likely some of the other things removed with it, unintentionally or otherwise. And an isolate is just CBD, just that one molecule.
And the reason that a full spectrum, compared to even a marijuana product, is really amazing for dogs is because, like we talked about, dogs have more receptors within their brain. So a little THC goes a long way. That does not mean that a dog with cancer cannot benefit from a marijuana-based product. But when it comes to full spectrum, having that 0.3% THC is just enough to really, really create the entourage effect and really, really help them.
Absolutely. So next we're going to talk about the certificate of analysis.
Yeah.
This is a vital part for you to be able to ensure that what it says on the label is actually what is in that product.
It's the only way to know that you have one of those 10 products that was reputable found in that Cornell study. You don't want the other ones that don't have the cannabinoid ratios or that had heavy metals or pesticides or didn't have any CBD at all. So you of course want to be able to find a COA. Transparency is everything here, showing not only the amount of CBD, THC, and other cannabinoids and terpenes, but of course making sure that that pesticide analysis is clear and it is safe for your pets to be ingesting these.
This shows everything that's in it that you want to be in it, and everything that's not in it that could harm your pet. And if you're a business owner, this is definitely something you need to do, bring something in. If you're a pet parent, it seems like a really scientific thing to look at, but it's not that hard. And there's also some videos online that you can find on our YouTube page where we tell you how to do that. We'll tell you about that at the end though.
And then of course, labeling is so important, making sure that it's clear what's in it, what's not in it. We choose to do a QR code that will go directly to the batch of the specific product that you're holding, making sure, again, that you're going to go right to that COA so that you have a safe and effective product. If you cannot find a COA for the company, if you have to go looking for that COA, they are hiding something.
And if they're hiding
always-
something,
yes,
you don't want to deal with them. The next thing that you really want to make sure that you've got a good product for your pet, like we said, we're treating our pets like family members. They are our family. You want that product to be created at a human grade level. You want those manufacturing processes to be the highest possible quality that you can have. So one way that we at CBD Dog Health do that, for instance, is we harvest our oil only from the flowering buds of the hemp plant, where oftentimes, as you see in the pet industry, you may have companies that for their human products will harvest from the buds, but then for their pet products they'll harvest more from the other aerial parts, the leaves, the stalks.
just like the food.
Just like food, oftentimes the pets they get kind of the throwaway at the end. So that's one way. Other way, their extraction methods, making sure that whatever extraction method they're using doesn't leave behind residual solvents that could end up being harmful for your pets. Now, you may end up spending a little bit more, but it will go further and it will be safer for your pet in the long run, which is always our goal. The next thing that we're going to talk about is make sure that it's grown with organic practices, so that there are no pesticides, no heavy metals, no additional solvents in there. This is really important because our pets, it bioaccumulates in their body and it can be it can have really negative effects for them. And the way that you ensure that it is grown by these organic practices is with that certificate of analysis, number 2 there. You look and you make sure that that report says no pesticides, no heavy metals, no pathogens like Salmonella or E. coli. This is really important, and it's a shame that we have to do all this work ourselves. But like Hernando said in the beginning, this is a completely unregulated industry, even more than the human industry. And lastly, we just want to make sure that all the ingredients in there are specifically helpful for pets. There are a lot of human products that have a paw print on them that have crap in them that pets don't need. Oftentimes we saw ingredients like xylitol, which is a sweetener in there that's very toxic for dogs. There are other flavorings and things in there. You got your bacon flavored CBD. It's like pets they don't need that. Give it to them like a treat. They love the taste of this stuff. It tastes great for them. So keeping it simple, unadulterated, in its greatest form, they will like it, it will be good for them.
Yeah, and one thing that's on here that I just thought of is making sure you have a bottle with a substantial amount of milligrams of CBD.
Absolutely.
You don't want a 100 milligram bottle. You know, if these pets need more, that's gonna go real fast. Finding a high dose around 500 milligrams and up, I would say. Just making sure there's at least 9 to 12 milligrams in the milliliter, so that they're really getting the effect. So many times we get calls from people saying CBD didn't work. I look at what they're using and they're giving 1 milligram of CBD. It's really important that we're getting this, the right amount for them.
Definitely. So, you know, what we found is there is so much value in this plant medicine. And if it's done right, there is very little risk that we're going to hurt our pets or do any kind of negative damage to them. But that is contingent upon being diligent and making sure that the product that we have in hand is really high quality.
You know, cannabis has changed my life, it's changed his life, it's changed my business partner's life. Everybody on my team uses cannabis in some way or another. And I love seeing this human market explode. It's beautiful. But we cannot forget to leave our animals out of this conversation. When they took cannabis away from us, we took it away from them, and they deserve the same respect. They deserve this medicine. They deserve to not feel pain and inflammation and have seizures. And the pet industry in general is a problem, and we have the chance to do it right and start new with something that was taken away from them. So we're thrilled to be here. We're thrilled to travel the country and talk to veterinarians and educate people like you guys. And we are here. Thank you guys so much. Is there anybody questions about CBD for their pets? Chickens, cats, dogs, pigs?
You can find us on social media as well. We do a live on Friday every week where we answer questions about specific different ailments that we're going to teach you about. Find us on Facebook, CBD Dog Health.
Yeah, and our founder, Ardolino, hosts a weekly podcast with Cannabis Radio, interviewing the best holistic vets in the country about cannabis medicine and other holistic modalities. And that airs every Monday on Cannabis Radio. You can get it on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, wherever.
And it's called It's a Dog's
Life.
Any questions out there?
Questions? Yes, how are we doing questions? Woo-hoo.
Thank you. I have a Jack Russell Terrier, and she has like anxiety all the time. She's just wild. What product would I give her to just calm her down?
Yeah, it's just general anxiety, nothing sparking it. Yeah. So that I often compare to. I've taken in the past antidepressants, right? And with an antidepressant, we have to slowly get that medicine in there, find the right dose, optimal dose, and use it every single day. That's gonna be the same, at least for a few months, giving them somewhere starting around that 9-12 milligram mark is where we're finding really great success. We have a product specifically formulated for anxiety. It's a full spectrum CBD with lavender essential oil that's grown in a biodynamic farm in California. That lavender really makes a difference, speeding up the anxiety slowdown. What am I saying? So if you're going to use one from us, our calm tincture, and I'll give you our card. But otherwise, you just want to be able to find a full spectrum product, place it right on the gums. That's something we forgot to talk about. Administering is so important. Studies have shown that the biggest and best bioavailability is putting it on the gums, so it goes straight into the bloodstream. The next option is in food, and the final option is in the pinna of the ear that you can rub it in there. It just has the least amount of bioavailability. For your dog, if possible, put it right on the gums, about 9 to 12 milligrams. Wait about 10-15 minutes. If you're not seeing a difference, get more until they see a little bit more relaxed. Any other questions?
Questions?
Comments, concerns? We're good?
All right, well, if anybody has some stage fright here, please feel free to email us, contact us on social media, and we'll be happy to get back to you. We've got a live chat feature on our website that's monitored by really knowledgeable people, and we love to answer your questions and educate. That's what we're here for. So,
Thank you guys so much.
thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the